Hi, Val and Cindy. It's really great to have you guys on the panel with us this morning. It's really good to be part of the Hong Kong FinTech Week. I'm really excited about what we're going to be covering during this session today. So myself, George, just a quick background to all of us who is joining. I've been running InsurTech Asia Association for past few years. I've been immersed in the InsurTech, all things insurance across the region, been in both in insurance side of things as well as the startup side of things. And now I'm head of commercial for Zongang Tech, which is also a very interesting InsurTech venture. So without much further ado, let me just give a quick introduction to two of you, and I'll give you a chance to also give a little bit more depth behind that. So I think I've met Val many years ago now when she was first studying in the startup bootcamp days in Singapore. We've met there, and since then it's been many years, and I think the business has grown tremendously since. It's been a big success, and recently we've seen exciting news about the AMTD as well. So I'd be very interested to hear your inputs on that. So both of you are very interesting background, and Cindy is obviously the founder of Sunday in Thailand, and I think you guys been one of the big success stories as well in InsurTech across the region as you've grown your business from right from the beginning to such a big and having investors like a Vertex and all the other guys that are really excited about to seeing what you are growing in InsurTech. So maybe if you don't mind, just give a little bit more color to where the businesses is at, a little bit more about your background as well. So Val, if you don't mind going first.
Hi, thank you so much, George, for your warm introduction. Yeah, it's been a journey knowing each other since I first started, and I learned a lot from George because George came into InsurTech with a lot of years of experience previously from AIG, sharing all the insights. So thank you very much for your guidance during the early days. So thank you, everyone. It's good to have to be here today. I'm the CEO and founder of PolicyPal. So we aim to be the leading life insurance platform providing personalized financial review and action plan to help you reach your financial freedom with insurance. So we founded in 2016. We provide financial planning, which helps you the end-to-end process, making the right choice for your financial needs and providing financial products through predictive analytics. So today we work together with insurance companies and as well as financial advisors to empower you to actually make the right decision all the way from quotation, marketing, customer service, and data analytics support to all our partners. So we serve about over 100,000 of consumers on our platform, as well as small medium enterprises in Singapore for PolicyPal for business. So we develop technology to transform protection as well as financial services. So we are recently acquired by AMTD, majority acquisition by our very strategic partner. So we're looking to launch in Hong Kong end of this year. So very exciting times ahead.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, hi George, hi Val. I'm happy to be here actually. It's my first time meeting both of you guys, so it's always nice to meet more people within the InsurTech space because it's still very niche and limited. So really happy to be here. Yeah, so my name is Cindy. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Sunday. We're a full stack InsurTech, so we cover the entire value chain from sales to after sales services. So we invest a lot of effort and capabilities in applying data models and technology within our entire solution. So with a lot of our because we're a full stack, meaning to say that we have a license within us. So we work a lot in risk prediction algorithms, trying to really customize and also personalize our products. And about to date, we launched in 2017. Still in Thailand. Actually, today we're launching in Indonesia, so it's quite exciting for us as our second market. In terms of products portfolio mix, we're about 70% health insurance. So we typically scale via B2B and B2B2C. Hence, a lot of our effort has gone into data and AI and machine learning application to really try and break down the complexity of it and simplify it for our users, which is mainly corporates and SMEs right now. Because we also scale via B2B2C, so we've been working quite closely with telcos, e-commerce companies, large corporates as well, who's looking to integrate insurance within their entire ecosystem, whether it's to their subscribers or their end consumers as well. So that's just a little bit about Sunday.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that good introduction. So today's panel, we'll dive into the AI and big data. And I think those are topics that are very hot topics, and a lot of people are very interested in it. I think at the same time, it's also fairly ununderstood topic. So it's fairly new to everybody. So a lot of people have different varying ideas about it. Some people think that AI is already there. It's going to be basically replacing everybody. It's going to be doing all the things that we as people do, while maybe the reality is a little bit earlier on. So maybe what I do is I start off with the first question is, what can we do with the AI and big data that was not possible before? And I think that gives us a bit of a baseline around that discussion. So Val, if you don't mind going first, please.
Yeah, definitely. So we have implemented machine learning into our practice with PolicyPal. First of all, using optical character recognition technology and taxonomy, as well as rule-based algorithms to visualize insurance policy when it first started. Thereafter, we automate in terms of the coverage gap analysis for portfolio review, especially when people deal with financial planning as well as for life, health, retirement planning. So we start off by analyzing individuals like risk profile from all the way from their claims history as well. So predicting that like potentially the likelihood of like a future claims, gathering the data from the company as well as third-party sources. So we work together with the insurance companies as well as we connect with the IoT devices to build like a machine learning algorithm to gather much more comprehensive overview of the insured. So with a data science model, we can actually better classify and determine like the quantifiable type of risk factor and help like, of course, our insurance parties that we work together with taking their we call them the off-the-shelf products all the way to like co-creation type of insurance products to actually look into the complexity of like this particular customer, like what's the risk profile, so that we can actually increase in terms of both the conversion rate for the customer as well as reducing the potential claims that like this particular policy holder will be handling. So the next one is actually predicting in terms of like the severity of like the claims and as well as the incident. So this will happen in specific type of like countries and as well as the segment. So so in Singapore itself, it depends very much on like the person's like background in terms of career as well as like their profession. So at which stage of their life stage they are in. So depending on like their life stage, we will look into the severity in terms of like what's the claims profile that like this particular policy holder will be encountering. So it helps us whenever we generate the quotation in terms of like the automated like risk quotation engine that we built in together with the insurance companies that we have been working with for a period of time. So based on the historical data from the existing policies that they have all the way to the type of quotation that they have been generating, we are able to use machine learning to do retargeting as well as help in terms of the renewal process for this policy holder. So at the current stage of what we've seen in the insurance space is that like it's still quite early stage because of the lack of data that we have. Well, InsurTech has only just started evolving in the past like few years, right? So it takes time for us to build the data, but then most of the insurance companies have started to open up in terms of like working together with us using machine learning technology. Yeah.
Thank you. I know what you guys are doing. Cindy, if you don't mind sharing what you think are some of the things that we're doing that was not possible before.
Yeah, I definitely think that looking back decades ago, we definitely have a larger set of data, structured and unstructured. There are a lot more industries and ecosystems trying to apply machine learning and try to make sense of the internal data, but also more importantly, trying to also get a third-party data as well and trying to enrich it all together. I definitely think that because of the computing power these days, parallel processing, it's machine learning and AI has kind of sort of became kind of like the most important general purpose technology. So within insurance, because insurance is so abstract, right? Like you literally almost anything can be insured in this world, and risk is so adaptable and it evolves constantly. So I think for us, especially for insurers with the license who actually have to absorb the risk as well, it's really a step-by-step process, and we have to go through iterations. So, for instance, for Sunday, I think because we came from that background, becoming a digital insurer ourselves from day one, we set up a data lab, and then we've always tried to understand like how do we not just looking at our internal data, but also trying to make sense on, okay, in the future, if we're talking about trying to work with ecosystem players, because that's how we foresee insurance being sold and targeted as well, as what Val said, then we need to have the ability to also ingest unstructured third-party data, and also trying to make sense of it from an insurer's perspective. So I think we learned a lot, and it's great to see self-driving cars with all the computer vision technology coming in. It's great to see a lot of e-commerce companies also really widely optimizing their inventory management and their workflow process for warehousing. It's also incredible to see subscription models these days, everyone trying to change their business models and trying to learn more about how do I really push that customer lifetime value, retain customers' loyalty from a data-driven perspective. So from an insurance perspective for us, because at the end of the day, our product is not really hardware, it's nothing hard, it's kind of like risk. So we have to try to price it, quantify it, like what Val said also. So data is definitely one way to do it. And that's why I think from our side, we invested a lot in building risk prediction algorithms for very complex risks to start off with. We started off with motor, and then we moved on to health, and now both these products and premium engines are actually plugged into our sales platform. It's all automated. So from our experience, we definitely from day one didn't start with like a pretty loss ratio. It definitely went through a lot of iterations, and as we scaled the company, we gathered more data with our data lab guys. Then we start to see patterns, and it gradually gets better as well. So I think that has been our experience. And when I observe insurance companies do that, insurtechs like Val and you guys as well, together with other industries, we definitely came a long way. But I definitely feel that there's still a long way to go as well.
For sure, and I think that I'm really glad that both of you mentioned something to pick up on for next, which is data. So data is such an integral piece to what the AI and big data is all about. And we always hear insurers talking about their data, but I think the resolution that everybody's talking about is very, very drastically different. When big corporates talk about data, it's about contact data of their customers. When we talk about data and the data that's applicable to AI, it's a high resolution data. So how do you guys, I think Cindy, you mentioned that data lab is something that you guys pursued. What kind of a data are you picking up? Is there meta that's available? All the privacy issues that's also surrounded it. How do you think about enough data in order for you to make this a viable?
Yeah. So I think, I mean, when we started off, we wanted to build a risk prediction algorithm to, let's say, price auto insurance or health insurance as accurately as possible. It's trying to predict how consumer or disease changes in the human body, and to see, you know, which hospitals they go to and how their risk profile changes, whether it's medical or travel. So my background was that because we had an insurance company to begin with, so I had internal data, meaning to say policy data as well as claims data dating back 10 years. However, I mean, you can't use, our experience was that we couldn't use 10 years worth of data, so we had to only use the recent 4. But a lot of it was, you know, trying to clean it, structure it, categorize it, label it, and trying to put it into a centralized environment where it's easy building a data pipeline, and it's easy for our data scientists to access it and start training a model. But a lot of the innovation actually happened from external data. So, for instance, like whether it's let's say health insurance, because 80% of our portfolio now is health. So we did a lot of scraping for third-party data, whether it's hospital densities, blood pressure, chronic diseases, how weather data, traffic, everything, demographics. So in the end, we ended up with 50 to 500 over different types of predictor variables that we were trying to input into our machine learning model, and seeing and going through the entire process of feature engineering to see how each of these predictor variables could have a significance and move the risk profile of a certain human or the way they drive their car. So so that was how our approach to sort of um, overcome the deficiency, whereby insurers always have limited data, whether it's low resolution or limited in quantity. We did a lot of innovation on that, on the external data side. So and that was how we just ran from day one. So we didn't have, like, you know, rich data down to the segment of per individual, because, you know, we're not at IoT level yet. And I think in Southeast Asia, IoT, when it comes to insurance, it still takes time for the retail market. It's not telematics yet for B2B. So we built a premium prediction, premium pricing model for a segment to one. So trying to build a lookalike profile and start cross-selling. And, you know, we tried to, then the strategy was then to scale the company as fast as possible so that we get more volume of data, and then we have more pattern we can sort of derive and adjust along the way. So and that's what we've been trying to do. So we start breaking down, like, let's say for health insurance, you have outpatient, inpatient, room and board, general hospital expenses, surgery. So for each type of coverage as well has a very different type of frequency and severity, like well mentioned as well. And within each we have like 10 different types of machine learning models powering it as well. So it was at that granular level where we start to see a lot of things than data insights. From this entire process, we generated even more data points, 200 more data points. And that's where, and that's how we've been doing for the past 3 years. So I definitely we went through the entire experience also having limited data, but then we focused a lot on external data for sure.
Makes sense. I think this is really, really good, very interesting. Val, how about yourself? How are you guys overcoming data limitation and deficiencies?
Yeah, so at PolicyPal, we started first with educating like consumers, like insurance policy. So that was actually the time that we started increasing the pool of data that like we can consolidate. Of course, we will never be able to compete with like say insurance companies that have been operating for many years, of like 10 over years of experience, historical data of the policy holder and the history, right? But what's actually different for us is that like we focus very much on the customer, and then the life surrounding them that includes like anything from motor, health, life, all the way type of different type of insurance, and also whatever insurance that their dependents have purchased for them. So we aggregated data surrounding the policy holder. And then later on, we actually further developed by actually developing like surveys, quizzes that are surrounding to the localization of like the data, such as how much they know about their CPF, which is the pension scheme in Singapore, all the way to like how much they know about educational planning. So helping them in terms of like understanding what they need, at the same time aggregating the data of like what consumers do not have, what they're looking out for. So because today we act as an intermediary, we work together with various insurance companies, and these are actually the data that like the insurance companies are looking out for. That can help them to actually develop the right type of insurance products, as well as be able to target the customers in terms of like what they are really looking out for, instead of many years ago where the insurance products are many times created for the sales advisors to sell to the customers. So they actually interview the sales advisors instead. Today, because of our platform, that like we have aggregated this kind of data collection in terms of personalization, be it from all the way to marketing, product creation, it actually helped in terms of personalization for insurance products. So we can see a trend of like our like consumers and also SME customers are looking for like modular type of insurance coverage there. They start off with like as low as a $50 savings insurance plan, then they add on different type of life insurance, health insurance coverage. The data that Cindy has covered a lot on is on like the risk management creation of insurance products. We see that we both like are able to potentially work together in the sense that the data that they look at is actually what can be combined together with the data that we have been aggregating with our customers, because we focus very much on finding out like what the market is looking out for, especially for like the consumers changing behavior, especially during this pandemic. We can see that a lot of people are moving towards online in terms of like even Zoom session to actually find out more about their insurance coverage. So we segment them into all the way from different type of customer segmentation of the data. On top of that, also in terms of like the previous claims history with PolicyPal. So because previously they actually claimed directly from their agent, so all the historical data might be directly from this particular insurer. But right now we have consolidated based on this customer profile, what have they claimed based on the historical basis. So all the way from claiming for car insurance, what's the profile for them being a live customer. So it can actually help like insurers as well as the customer in terms of lowering down the cost of the premium in the long-term basis.
No, this is fantastic, and I really have so many more questions that I wanted to. I know that we're short on time, so I really want to thank both of you. I think my key takeaways is that there is already a lot of things happening in this space, in the space of data, big data, and the AI. Both of you are working on some very interesting applications. It is still very early days, I guess, overall in the insurtech space. So it is about data accumulation and experimentation and seeing how those applications fit in terms of creating value in the bigger change within insurance. But the future is bright. I think there's a lot of opportunities really out there to go out there and change the world of insurance with these applications. So it's been really fun having you both on the panel. I really want to thank you for joining us and look forward to continuing this conversation